Hey guys, it's Ellie, and today I'm going to be reviewing all the books that I read in February. So, obviously this isn't all of them. Like, I read a few books for school, and one of the books that I read, I ended up lending to a friend a few days ago, so I don't have that one. But this is the majority. So I'm just going to be going in order and telling you the rating, giving you a quick review, and yeah. So first, I don't have these in order, so the pile's just gonna be random. First, you have Fight for Her by Liz Plum. This book makes me cry every single time I read it. It is so good. So the book is about a girl named Scarlett, and from the outside, her life is perfect. She is a senior in high school. She has the quarterback boyfriend. She's super popular. Her parents own a huge motor company, and she is the heiress to this huge company. But everything seemed to fall apart 4 years before, after her brother died. And Scarlett, she's just kind of lost because she doesn't understand why. In enters Elijah Black. Now, Elijah has been deemed the school bad boy because of the fact that his father left and his brother overdosed on drugs 3 years prior. So Scarlett and Elijah start to bond over the loss of their brothers because nobody in this town seems to understand what it's like to lose someone that close to you. And slowly their bond becomes a little bit more as Elijah introduces Scarlett to his world of boxing, where secrets become uncovered that nobody ever thought would be revealed. And before they know it, it's a matter of life and death. Now, this book is so good. 4 out of 5. Wattpad book, so you know it's got to be good because it's an award winner. So, definitely would recommend. Love that book. Second book is going to be this. Obviously, you can tell this book is well loved. I've read it about 4 times. This book is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. Book 1 out of a series of 9 at the moment. 10 will be coming this November. Now, this book the series is about a girl named Sophie Foster, who you would call a normal person. Normal besides the fact that she's 12 and a senior in high school, which kind of gets her into some trouble sometimes. But she has a secret. She can hear people's thoughts, and she has been able to since she was 5 years old. And she can hear them without even trying. So every single person around her, all of their thoughts, just... Until one day, while she's on a field trip at the National History Museum, she meets a boy who she can't hear. And he reveals to her that she's something far from human. And everything that she's ever thought was true actually is wrong, including her family. And she's taken to this world where everything is different. And she discovers that there are secrets planted in her brain and talents that nobody ever thought that she could have. And they're talents and secrets that people would kill for. Now, this book, I've read it about 4 times, and I've had this copy since I was 9 years old. So I've read this book a lot, and the character arc through the series is beautiful. And just how the characters, like, I personally haven't read Harry Potter, but I've heard that the characters age with the reader, and that's how this series is. Because by the end of the series, she's like 17. And so, obviously, there's not going to be a love triangle in the first 4 books because she's like 14. But as she ages, so do the readers. And I really love that about this series. So, 4 out of 5. Next book, Letting Go of Gravity by Meg Letter. I read this book once a year just because I feel like the message in it is so good. So this book is about a high school graduate valedictorian named Parker McCulloch. And Parker McCulloch has had her life planned out in front of her since she was 9 years old. She's going to go to Harvard on a full-ride scholarship to become a pediatric oncologist to help kids like her twin brother, Charlie, who are suffering from cancer. Now, her brother has relapsed twice, and after he finally goes into remission the second time, he's a different person from when he first started. And Parker doesn't understand why. He doesn't want to be around her. He's embarrassed. He starts drinking and sneaking out late and cussing out their parents, and she doesn't understand it because he used to be this person who was always there for her, and now she rarely sees him. And overall, she feels like her whole life is just falling apart and tearing at the seams, especially after her best friend leaves for a 10-week trip to Europe with her cousin. In enters Finn Casper, a boy that Parker has tried to forget from her elementary school days. Now, Finn Casper is a different type of person. He is the exact opposite of Parker, if you could call it that. Spontaneous and wild and reckless, and almost reminds her of her brother. But the one difference between Finn and Charlie is Finn actually cares, and she likes that. But relationships starts to form, and relationships start to fall apart. And by the end of the summer, Parker is a different person than she was before. And she lost a few people, and she gained some too. So this book makes me cry. It's one of those books that you can cry and laugh to at the exact same time, and I love it. So this book, 4 out of 5. I read some highly rated books this month, obviously. The next book, Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I think this book is a book talk book. I could be wrong. I'm actually not on Book Talk, so you tell me. But this book is a mystery, and if you know me, I don't read mysteries. But this was a recommendation from one of my friends, and so I was like, hey, what the heck, just do it. And so I bought this book. I read it in 2 days. It's like 500 pages long. And the entire story, there was a murder in 1938 of the owner of this huge school in Canada. He owns this boarding school for genius kids. And his wife and daughter were kidnapped. And his wife was found dead 3 weeks later, along with a student at the school found a week later in a cornfield 5 miles away. The murder was pinned on a man who confessed, but the only evidence was a poem written by someone who would have to be a genius and good at English, and this man that they convicted was from Mexico and spoke no English. And so it was kind of one of those things where they're like, oh, he admitted to being an accomplice. But they never actually caught the real person. 80 years later, Stevie Bell goes to this school called Ellingham Academy in Canada on a hill for genius people. And she goes to this school because she's obsessed with the Ellingham case. The murder of Iris Ellingham and this girl, Dottie Espinoza. Fascinated with it. And in her house, the Minerva house, there are 6 people, all with different backgrounds and different interests and hobbies and different reasons why they're at this school. A month later, one of her roommates is found dead in a cave that wasn't supposed to be opened. And suddenly, the Ellingham case has reappeared, and Truly Devious is back again. Now, this book is a series, so I will warn you on that. You don't find out who it is first book, which frustrated me. But I loved it so much, which honestly I'm kind of tempted to start reading more mysteries. It was so good. So, you know who you are if you're watching it. Thank you for the recommendation. Next book I read is this book, which I think was the only low-rated book that I read this month. This book is Front Desk by Kelly Yang. Now, I rated this book 2.5 stars because it just... Okay, So it's about this girl, and she is a first-generation immigrant from China. Her and her parents have been living out of their car for 2 years since they came to America. And they end up getting a job managing a motel in California. But the owner of the hotel is evil at the least. They only get 5% of their earnings, but they get free board. But all of these other rules, they have no employees, they have to work themselves. And it's suddenly a little bit too much for them. So the young girl, Mia, decides to enter a contest for a motel that somebody is selling in Vermont. Now, all you have to do is pay $300 entry fee and write an essay about why you would want to own the motel. Easy. But there's one problem. Her mom doesn't think she can do it because English is her second language. She's not very good at it either. So her mom tells her just stick to everything else. But when they start getting targeted and people start leaving, the cause is more frank than ever. So this book, I don't know. There just wasn't a lot of climax in it, and it was very, very, very predictable. And the characters were a little bit flat. No offense to anyone who's read this book and loved it. It just wasn't my style. Next is The Final Warning by James Patterson. Now, this book is number 4 in the Maximum Ride series, and I didn't like this one as much as the other ones, I will say that. It was alright, but again, I don't think there was a lot of plot pull. So, in general, the series is about these 6 kids who are only 98% human and 2% bird, which that 2% also means that they can fly. They have wings. And so they've been on the run from the people who created them, the school, only to be chased down by their minions called the Erasers, who are like flying wolves, you could say, I guess. Genetically modified flying wolves. So this book is 4th, and it is actually there's a 2-part series. So the first part is, I think it's called The Runaways, and this part's called The Protectors. So, this one's number 1 of the Protectors series. I really liked it. These books are really funny, I will say that. James Patterson has a flair for making comical characters, and I love that. And the characters also are really in-depth, and I do really enjoy that. But I just think this one, there wasn't a lot of fight scenes, which I didn't really like, and there wasn't a lot of mystery, like, oh my gosh, we need to discover this and this and this, because by this point, everything has been revealed, so they need to add more questions, but they didn't do a very good job of that. So, 3 out of 5, but I did really like this one. And last but not least, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy by Brie Indigo. I had to find the author's name. This book is a graphic novel, and it's a graphic novel retelling of the 1920 story Little Women. So, this book, it's pretty much about these 4 sisters. If you don't know what Little Women is about, it's about these 4 sisters who are poor, and their mom works all the time, and their dad's away in the war. And so it's about them over a year growing up and finding themselves and coming to be who they were meant to be. Which some of them, it would be marrying. Some of them, it would be finding their own passion. Some of them, it would be overcoming something and maybe not making it through that, if you know what I mean. And this book makes me cry. The original and the comic. And I love they brought everything in, including diary entries and emails and near-death experiences and the passion and just the emotion and anxiety and depression, but happiness and joy and connection to one another. And Brie Indigo brings it in very well. The illustrations are beautiful. The entirety is beautiful. I love it. So, those are my reads for February 2022. Thank you for watching. Thank you for giving me 15 minutes of your day. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.